Good morning.
Good morning. I still have my phone out. Is that all right?
Yes.
All right.
It's not all
I'll leave it there. So what is this about your shoes? What are you saying? I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
Put me on the spot.
So I've got my garbage shoes on today. Now that it's out in the open, I don't feel bad about propping them up. Everybody can see my garbage shoes.
There you go. See?
So yeah, my pants are a little long, and I got up this morning and put them on, and then I had to walk downstairs to get ready to leave for work. So I slipped these on so I wouldn't walk heels on my pants.
I remember walking heels, that get your pants get all torn up and threaded up. Do you remember tying?
It used to be cool.
Yeah, oh yeah. Do you remember tying
It might still be. I don't know.
little knots in the end of your shoelaces and then wearing them kind of never tying them?
Oh,
I
yeah.
definitely did
And
that.
So these have been tied one time ever. They're just slip-ons, and I destroy these shoes. I wear them for everything and meant to change them. But
they're comfortable like that.
It's not an unusual behavior for me. One time I got about 10 minutes away from the house and realized that I still had house slippers on.
I don't wear house slippers. I wouldn't do that. But
You've heard me say this before, but I'll restate it. I'm barely a grown-up.
barely an adult.
I really probably Amber should be in charge of dressing me in the morning and getting me off.
I want to apologize. First things first. I got the allergies, the bad allergies, the real bad allergies. Good news, bad news on this.
Are there good allergies?
No, never good allergies. The good news is I have all of them. So if you need any, I'll give them to you for free.
Yeah, I could borrow some later.
But we straightened out the mic so you won't hear me breathing constantly in this deal.
Yeah, it was really annoying.
Bad news is I might sound a little nasally.
You're
Louisville, Kentucky.
You're a little wheezy.
Yeah, Louisville, Kentucky is the place where people with allergies go to die.
Right.
It's a hard deal. I don't know how. It's a beautiful day out. It's only 187 degrees outside. 97% humidity, pollen and Canadian smoke so thick you can't see your hand. Don't breathe the air. You'll die probably.
Yeah, we call it the Kentucky crud.
Yeah, Ohio Valley.
People come from all over the world in March, springtime in Kentucky, to the Mid-America Truck Show, and I watch all these sales guys and friends in the industry come into the booth, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know what's wrong with me, man. I came down with a cold or something this week," and I'm like, "No, man, welcome to Kentucky."
Have you ever seen Armageddon?
You've arrived. I assume that if I had, we wouldn't be talking right now.
All right. What?
Armageddon is
yeah. If you hadn't, we wouldn't be talking. So, the real Armageddon.
Yeah.
Good joke. Good
Thanks.
joke. I'm
Thanks for
talking to
catching
Billy
up.
Bob. I'm
Appreciate
talking
you being there, Rod.
Bruce Willis, Billy Bob Thornton Armageddon.
Oh,
one.
yes, I've seen that one too.
You know, when they're in the office upstairs and they're talking about the asteroid and what's going to be, and Owen Wilson says, "What's it going to be like? What's it going to be like on the rock or whatever?" And Billy Bob says, 900 degrees in the sun, negative 300 in the shade, jagged rocks. And Owen Wilson goes, "Okay, worst environment imaginable." That's all you have to say. Worst environment. That's what I feel like Louisville. 187 in the sun,
Yes.
Thick smog. Allergies, pollen so bad you can see it on your car. Worst environment imaginable.
Right. Don't stop here.
Everybody when COVID hit, they were like, "Well, here's all of the symptoms to COVID, and you might experience this and this and this." And I was like, "That just sounds like April."
Right.
It sounds like every April of my adult life. I'm pretty sure I've had COVID since I was 12.
Yeah.
Every summer in Kentucky. So yeah. So terrible shoes and nobody can breathe.
But
We're
thanks
off to
for
a good
having
start.
thanks for having me back. Happy
Thanks
to
for
do it.
coming back because
doing it.
we shot 2 episodes of me just talking to an empty chair.
It didn't work.
It was amazingly terrible.
It didn't have the same hit.
Yeah.
Getting a phone call. That's why you put your phones on silent when
Yeah.
you do stuff like this.
But strangely enough, with the empty chair, the same percentage of my jokes hit.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
the
still got
Armageddon
0 laughs.
Armageddon one went way over my head.
You know, I'm not everybody's flavor of humor.
So what we end on last week? We were talking about the market.
We were going to get into some businessy stuff that you're really good at. I think, we were talking about market and industry outlook. It's bleak right now in trucking.
It's
owner
difficult.
Operators are struggling to stay profitable. Heck, man,
all companies,
big companies, companies you wouldn't expect to be having problems.
Yep.
Are in a little bit of trouble right now.
YRC,
And,
Yellow
is not doing fantastic.
No
offense, Yellow, but
I heard they got a.
It's bad.
Well, I read yesterday that they came to a temporary deal for a 30-day extension so that they can continue work, but their finances are no good. But
and people want more money.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I saw in Freight Waves or somewhere that Uber Freight stopped doing deliveries to them, and people are kind of prepping for Yellow's demise. I hope it doesn't come to that. I would hate to see that. But
man, they've been around forever.
Oh, and they're huge.
Like
Top
when I was
10.
just working like logistics with a little 3PL in town, like 25 years ago, I was auditing Yellow. It was Yellow Freight.
Yellow Freight, yeah.
But we were auditing Yellow Freight bills for customers back in the day.
And they're, huge LTL operation, but they're still, I have been in contact with Mike Wilkes, our director of sales, to talk to his team and see what we're doing about customers that might have utilized Yellow or someone like that for their LTL work, and see if we can fit in or see if there's a spot for us.
Is there really a spot for us in something like that?
Usually places like that, they'll ship and do consolidation somewhere and then ship LTL, kind of last mile or final mile stuff.
Okay, so getting it across the country might be,
so
we might be able to do some truckloads.
Exactly.
Stuff.
Or
that would be fun.
There is companies, one of our very good customers, when things like that, you never know how supply chain or how anything affects the supply chain. Funny story, we have a very large customer that does recreational vehicles. You probably know them. I'd rather not say names. But
we don't have to name drop.
But when COVID hit and our previous administration shut down travel to and from countries, foreign countries, they shut down foreign travel completely. Well, this company builds their recreational vehicles in Mexico, and they get their tires from China, or I think it was Vietnam, actually. But they put
the thought of traveling abroad is foreign to me.
Yeah, that one hit. That was good. That one hit.
That's all I got, Roderick. I'm just sitting here waiting for dad joke moments.
Here I am talking about some real customer stuff,
I'm
and
sorry.
you're dad joking me to death. No, that one hit though. That was good.
That was 23 years of professional dad.
Okay, good.
You
Then
can't help yourself when they present themselves.
I'm only in year 7.
It's like
dad.
Tourette's.
Yeah, it's got it.
Yeah, there just comes a point where it just comes out. There's an opportunity. Sorry.
No, you're good.
So they cut down travel.
Yep, they cut down travel. They get their tires from Vietnam. Well, previously they just did a little pallet or 2 pallet or 3 pallet of tires on commercial travel airplanes, and they'd put them in the hole and ship them over to Mexico. Well, when they stopped international travel, they had to charter private 747s just to get their tires to Mexico to finish building these things.
They couldn't piggyback on commercial.
They couldn't piggyback on passenger airplanes, commercial airplanes. So it cost them $1 million per plane of tires. Whereas they were paying, I don't know what they were paying beforehand, but little things like that, you think that, well, that doesn't, how is that going to affect ATV prices? How is commercial travel going to affect, shutting down commercial travel going to affect ATV prices? Well, there you go, little stuff like that. So who knows if if it does happen and something happens to Yellow, we need to be prepared, or we at least need to be having conversations. I had a really good conversation yesterday. This is something you don't know yet. FedEx.
As if.
FedEx called. You don't. This is hot off the press because I didn't know what was going on. The FedEx executives, not the board, I'd say the board, the line haul executives that give us all the freight in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, they contacted me and said they wanted to meet yesterday over Zoom call.
Oh.
So I'm thinking, what are we doing here? Are we doing UPS Teamsters talk? Are we doing what happens if talk? Didn't know what was happening. So we get on the call, me and Chris Warner from sales get on the call, and first and foremost, they gave us our award. They awarded us from last year. We got a yearly Power Only Performance Award from them for excellent, outstanding work.
Go Mercer.
Go you all who do the work out there. They said, Brian, our communications is seamless, or are seamless. We had almost zero on-time failures or service failures for on-time delivery, and we carried 9,000 loads, 9,000 shipments in during peak season, which is a little over a month and a half. Wow. Is what it was. 9,000 shipments, almost zero on-time service failures, and communication is seamless. So they gave us an award, which is fantastic.
Well, hell yeah, they did.
Yeah. They also said
that we're awesome.
Yep, and that next year. Here I am, right? I said, oh, okay, great. Yeah, I knew we were going to do great.
Do you play it off like, oh yeah, I expected that.
Yeah, I did. Well, I said, our customer service and on time, we hold ourselves to a very high standard, But meanwhile, I'm proud. I'm proud of this. So, but then I'm questioning them. What about next year? What's going on? What's going on this year? So they said that this year their expectations are slightly above last year's for need and what peak will look like. And the good news is we might get a little jump start on bidding for peak season freight. So it's still all expected to roll. I was real iffy on how the economy is going to play out, but yeah, it's good stuff.
So if anybody ever really listens to this, especially our guys, I want to point out, or first say thanks.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. But man, to me, that I always poke out my chest a little bit when I hear stuff like this, because what I tell people all the time is one of the differences in Mercer compared to some other carriers, not all of them, but some other carriers, is that we are owner-operators. So when you've got a guy picking up your load of freight in a Mercer truck, it is a guy that owns his own business, is taking care of his family and his livelihood with that truck. He's invested in equipment, and he has said, yes, I want to service this customer and take care of their freight because it's going to be good for my business.
Yeah, on his own.
Conversely, there's companies out there that call some poor guy up at 6 o'clock in the morning and say, hey,
turn on the
get
truck.
your ass over to my customer and get this load of freight. I don't care where you want to go. I don't care if you want this load. Take care of my customer.
Yep.
And not everybody's like that. I'm not bashing asset-based carriers.
Yeah.
But quite honestly, when a Mercer truck shows up at your shipping area, your dock or whatever, he's there because he wants to do business with you, not because somebody's making him.
Talk about things that hit different, right?
Yeah, just a little different. And I think that's part of the reason that our service is so good is you've got guys that are invested and they wanted that load of freight to begin with.
Yeah, and we talk about it. It's good to hear on the converse side of that because we talk about it all the time. We talk about the standard that we expect and that we take pride in, and we hold people accountable to, and it's good to hear that that's being noticed. Of course, that's always when you puff out your chest and you want to, and it's good to hear. And I just we want more.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and my history has always been on the recruiting side of things, not operations. I don't even know if I could dispatch a load of freight if you just sat me down at the computer. I'd rather not, because then I might have to work harder someday doing that. And it's a really hard job moving freight.
Well, this market too, it's tougher than ever.
I've spent a lot of time in my career just talking about why we're so great for owner-operators. And the things that we do that are different for owner-operators. So it's nice to hear from operations side, we're not just the best for owner-operators. We're a good carrier for customers as well. And it's because of those owner-operators and because we have good systems in place and good people dispatching freight that do know how to use that computer.
And communicate, all the communication in place. That, when a market shifts, and it's very cyclical, and we all know this, we become very aware that customers and people are highly aware of the price of everything and the value of nothing. Okay, they do. They're constantly looking at the price of it and disregard the value of what's happening, and that happens in the market swings, and then inevitably it changes, and they see the value in what we bring to the table and the value of this, and they're not as concerned with the price. But when the market dips, everybody's real high on the price of everything. We want to know what the price is, and so it's good to hear the ROI of FedEx is high, and they appreciate the service that we provide, and they see the value in partnering with somebody like us, because in this market, it's tough.
Yeah.
I was in orientation yesterday. I talked to every orientation class, and really, when I go over there, you've heard it.
We have big shots talking in our orientation class.
That's the most important thing I do 2 times a week.
It really I really do think it's awesome that you do that.
I enjoy it thoroughly, and Dale's the one that put me on to do that. But really, and it's an easy conversation. It's very high level, what we do at Mercer, how we do it. Is there a lightning storm or the light flickering?
Did I just have a stroke?
I thought I blinked really hard.
When you get to be my age and things start flickering, you start
start worrying a little bit.
Start worrying about stuff.
Papa, is that you?
Yeah.
There's a light.
I saw a very unfortunate video yesterday. Look it up after we're done, of our Senate Minority Leader. On the stage yesterday. Yeah. It was kind of it was a moment of what's going on here.
Oh, wow. So anyway, I don't watch news, right?
Well, this is just a clip.
Like
you don't have to
literally have no idea what's happening in the world anywhere at any given time.
This is a realization. Yeah, Roderick says you're not missing much. We're interviewing a I think it was a coordinator that is coming from a news station as a producer, and wants to do that. And I said, "What? So should I want to be in the media, or what's going on here?" And our HR said, "Well, I think she's just kind of strung out on news. It's just news all the time. And if you get that much negative, there's not a lot of positive in the news these days.
No.
If you get that much negative beat in every day, day after day, I could see where that's taxing on the." There's the lightning again.
Yeah, that's why I stopped watching news.
It's hard.
I swear. Liam was like 3 years old. I saw this news story of this lady that drove her car with a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old in the backseat into a lake.
What?
Yeah. And Liam was like 3 or 4 years old at the time. So, like, it really resonated with him. I'm like, what kind of place do you have to be in the world to do that? Not to yourself and your children. And I was like, wow, I'm like really sad about this, and it was tearing me up, man. I'm just thinking about this little child that I have, and I'm watching this sad story, and they wrap up the story, and the news guy's like, And now, also in the news,
Here's the weather.
And I'm like, how are you not sitting there crying?
There's
Like,
the real question. It's not the poor
how
lady.
do you deliver that?
The poor lady with the obvious mental challenges to be in that state of mind, but the real thing is the society that wants to hear about that, and wants to report
not
about
me,
that,
dude.
and that it's
I'm out.
it's hard.
So I stopped participating. But yeah, I'll check that out if all I have to do is watch a YouTube clip or something.
It goes along the lines of you feeling old. A lot of old jokes, man. I'm not going to make any old jokes on you, but you feeling old.
I am old
because of the lightning strikes and the light flickering that we're experiencing right now. It's not real lightning, but
Dude, I'm so jacked right now.
Orientation. What are you jacked about?
This
Coffee.
black coffee.
There you go. It's right down the
Drivers,
street.
if you're in town, you want a daggone good cup of coffee in the morning. Of course, we always have coffee here for you for free, but you
Good
want a
neighbors.
good cup of coffee, go to our neighbors, Black Coffee.
Yeah.
It's amazing, man. But I'm a little jittery.
So this guy, so in orientation, I speak to every orientation class, and this goes back to talking about the market and what's going on, and people seeing the price of everything and the value of nothing this day and age. Well, I start off the conversation, and really my point whenever I'm talking to the orientation class is I want to get across that we're not a place that's going to overpromise and underperform.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's one of our, we're founded on good principles, like honesty and integrity and weird things that don't make sense in society anymore.
Yeah. And still hired Roderick.
Thanks for being on board, Roderick.
Weird.
So,
Yes.
a laugh track. I love it.
See, they get me.
So, yeah, you got good that. We need those. Hold your applause. Hold your applause.
Thanks.
So I'm telling them about that, and one thing I want to get across is this is still trucking. This is still logistics and doing that. It's not going to be a perfect ride. It never is. But you have a home here. You have a place that you can work through things, and you can come to a solution, and we want to facilitate the success of your business and do all that. So I'm talking to them about that. Well, I get into the part about how it's not going to be a perfect ride and how the market is down. And a gentleman chimes in and raises his hand, and he says, "How do you know? Have you ever driven before?" And I said, "Well, no, sir, I haven't driven. I've driven a desk for the last 13 years in the logistics industry, and I've seen the ebbs and flows." And I said, "I'm confused by your question. Are you saying it's not, the market's not difficult for drivers, or what do you?" He said, "No, I just want to know your perspective on how you think it's difficult." I said, "Well, I can't relate to that in a sense of waiting physically at a shipper for 5 hours or not having the load that takes you right back to the house. No, I can't relate to that. But I can relate with having conversations and doing the operations portion of it every single day for the past 13 years. And I know, not to mention, I look at all the analytics of everything, and just data says that the market's tough right now. But, I can relate to having real conversations with real people every single day about what's going on out there. And this is the time when we need to come together, build relationships, and provide value so that customers like FedEx or whomever come back and say, man, you all outperform. That's the important stuff. So
Worth it.
It was hard. It's hard seeing someone in orientation coming on board to us and knowing that he's been isolated because he's just straight up saying it. Basically, I don't know where you're coming from type deal. So it was good. It was good to talk to him and hear that. But
it's an interesting dynamic we have here.
it is. It's different. It's different.
One,
Keep saying that.
I'm going to keep calling you Big Shot if that's okay. If you don't think I'm making fun of you.
No, you're fine.
But the reality is I mean, you're pretty high up in our company. You're not a small fish in a big pond here. You're one of the big fish, and I think it's hard in our industry. I think it's hard in an industry where you're used to finding closed doors. You're used to being treated like a tool to achieve a job rather than an asset to a company and helping them thrive. I don't think people are used to hearing, oh, I talk to drivers all the time. That's how I know it's hard right now, is drivers are telling me that it's hard right now. But you do get out there and you talk to the guys and you listen.
Yeah.
And it's a little weird, I think, for some guys coming in. I get a lot of guys come over to see Anthony at the end of orientation.
Yeah.
And just go, well, I can't remember anybody's name because I've met so many people.
Yeah, yeah.
But everybody's really nice, and I'm not used to talking to this many people. You know, it's just, hey, fill out these forms, sign this contract.
Yeah.
Here's a load of freight. Get out of our hair. And we really do kind of just
but it's
hang
easy
out and
to
spend time
yeah,
talking.
It's easy to get
things.
in that rut, though. I do have a job to perform, and I do have duties to perform, and you know, I'm not taking anything away from us, and I think it is different, and it is really good, and I love you pointing it out and talking about it. But it's so easy to get in that little just mundane, everyday, task-oriented stuff. I won't forget when we started that specialized program that you drive the ATVs on and off.
Fun stuff.
We had 3 drivers, Dale Keelhorn. Well, there's 4. There was 4 really. Dale and Cecil, John Pope, and Brian Wright. And they came. We were trying to get it all worked out. And I've got spreadsheets. I've got all this information. I'm talking to the customer, trying to get this specialized program work out. We're going to invest a lot of money into this. And I'm dealing with customer stuff, and I'm at the computer and doing my thing all day. And they're in town, and they want to see the ramps and see how it works out and how it gets onto the van and how we're going to actually do this, how this is going to actually take place. And they've called me, and they've called me, and they called me multiple times, but I'm knee-deep in spreadsheets in my quote-unquote job, looking at stuff and doing this.
Did he say spreadsheets?
But I'm knee-deep in spreadsheets. Spreadsheets. I get going. I need a drink of water. It's the allergies, man. I can't breathe.
Yeah, the allergies are bad.
Bad.
In your spreadsheets.
That's a good one, too.
It's not. Don't encourage me.
Thanks, Roderick. Laugh track on that. Spreadsheets.
My life is like a old Jackie Gleason show.
So,
That was a black and white TV show, Roderick. They used to watch things on televisions.
Right.
What were you talking about yesterday that went over?
Abbott and Castillo.
Yeah, Abbott and Castillo. That's it. You're
Costello.
digging a hole.
It's not. It's not Spanish.
You're digging a hole. But that okay. So that was.
I'm so old. It hurts. I hate you guys.
That was
Van
3
Dyke,
years
right?
ago. That was 3 years ago that we did that. But I was knee deep in the spreadsheets and talking to customers and doing all that stuff. And they kept calling me. And finally, I said, okay, let me meet you all over at the warehouse, and we're going to look at it. And I was frustrated. I told all of them I was frustrated. I didn't, I had things to do. Real important things to do.
Because you're important.
Importante. That's how I like to say it. So, but I met him over there, and I spent 3 hours over there with him, and I realized walking away from that, I said, that was the most important 3 hours I've spent all day.
Yeah.
Organizing, trying to work this stuff out. That was way more important than the spreadsheets with a P.
There's
that I
things
was
that you
involved in.
have to get done, though.
Yeah,
And,
true.
And spreadsheets are one of them.
No, can't take credit away.
But yeah, it's good to make time for people. And kudos to us, man, because no name dropping, but we've got a customer that has a very specialized need.
Mm-hmm.
you can't just go out and buy a piece of equipment to handle it the way they want it handled.
No, we tried.
So not only did we take the first off, kudos to Mercer staff, because where are you going to find a trucking company that's got people with the skill set to custom build a trailer for a customer?
Yeah.
Yay us.
Yeah.
But
really.
then, how many times does a project like that happen where you got a bunch of guys wearing golf shirts and chinos sitting at a desk deciding how I'm
I
saying,
got chinos.
yeah, no big deal.
I'm not wearing chinos.
Yeah, I'm not judging, but
My
I'm
guy.
saying we don't have any damn business
Right.
specking out a trailer to
No,
do this.
no.
So what do? We've got 4 owner-operators that
Yeah.
know the business, have expertise in hauling unusual freight and unusual loads, consulting with us to say, oh, if I'm doing this, here's the way I want to do it. And,
Right.
And just from an employee perspective, at companies, I've experienced where, somebody just says, oh, here's the change we're putting in place, without talking to the people that are going to do the work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, oftentimes it's the people that do the work every day that come up with the best ideas
Oh, yeah. Sure.
on how to do it better and more efficiently. So,
And it's good to collaborate and do that. There's so many people involved in that project, and there still are. I mean, shoot, that thing's still growing.
it's growing. Yeah, good for
And
us.
it's good thing to do. You know what I wanted to do? I wanted to start. I forgot to do it, but we need to start each one of these out with like a safety message of some sort.
Buckle up.
Buckle up. That's a good safety message.
That was the best I could do on a fly.
I say that.
But,
I say that.
but
Well,
no,
it's
you're
how
right.
we should. It's how I ended my day yesterday because we were talking about orientation. And Dale came in to my office, and we were talking about we're always talking about adding business things to orientation and this and that. But one thing that we need to talk more and really focus more on too, not that we are constantly focused on safety, but making people aware of what's going on and what we're seeing. Here, quiz. Let me test you here.
No.
All right. And I can't use numbers, so let me see if I can do this right. This is gonna be a quiz for everybody too. Roderick, you're involved too, and everybody
I'm
listening.
glad there's no numbers.
Right, me
I
too.
was told there'd be no math.
What 2 types of accidents do we pay way more, or cost us way more than any other type of accident on the road? And what I'm looking for is head on, losing control. What 2 types of accidents?
I'm glad you clarified
Right,
on the road.
right turns.
Okay, Roderick.
People trying to sneak in there between the curb and our truck,
Okay.
and we pay them because they're jackasses.
All right. He's got that one.
Okay. I'll go with just not paying attention while you're merging.
Okay, merging.
Yeah.
Merging and right turns. We'll use those. Wrong. It is backing up and low speed side swipe. Let me ask you this: where do way more
Truck
than
stop parking lots.
truck stop parking lots?
Yep.
Where are the locations? You know what's? I thought about this on the way in.
Anywhere within 50 yards of a Swift truck.
Yeah. Or JB.
I'm not even sorry for
JB
that
truck.
one. It's
Right.
You know, we hear that a lot. We hear hear all this, so and so guy with so and so trucking company or Swift, Night Swift or whatever. They can't do anything. But I mean, stats are stats. That happens to us too. And I think here's the actually it was probably about a month ago. I leave my house and I park in the same spot every day. I got 2 kids, so the garage is full of toys and bikes and things, so I can't park in the garage. So I'm in the driveway, and I leave my house, and my mother-in-law came over to watch the kids. my wife's there, and I'm doing my normal routine. I get in my car. I'm always very aware in my car. I buckle up. I'm very safe. And I back up, and I hit directly into my mother-in-law's car.
Yep.
Just right then. She parked right behind me, and I am so in my zone when I'm leaving my house that I don't even pay attention to the fact that she is literally right behind me. And I think about it, and I'm thinking, well, man, in my brain, I don't start driving until I'm like in forward or past my routine.
Right.
Parking is not a part of me driving. It's just it's the end destination. I've already turned off. Backing up, the initial backup. Of course, you look behind and you look around your shoulders, but that initial backup is just part of my routine, and that's where that stuff happens.
Yeah.
So it's so important to be hyper aware and vigilant and start your driving experience from before you enter the vehicle type thing, because here I am hitting my mother-in-law's car. It made sense to me. At first, I looked at that on paper. I look at all these reports and things on paper, and I think, how is that possible?
Right.
Oh, well, I know how it's possible. I mean, you're turned off by that point. I'm not saying that our drivers are, but I can see how easy it would be to say, okay, I've made it to my destination. The trip is over. Mm-hmm. I am safe now, type deal. And it's important stuff.
Yeah.
Very important stuff.
Yeah, so we stop at truck stops when we travel.
Yeah.
If at all possible. Because I'm just a truck stop
Junkie.
Yeah, kind of a fanboy of
It's okay.
of gadgets and trinkets, and
Yeah.
Usually I want to stretch my legs for a little bit, and what are you going to do? Go stand around in Thornton's candy aisle?
No, I know.
I want to look at like CBs and
Have you been to a Buc-ee's?
gosh.
Yes.
So
Yes.
They don't allow truck parking. Have you been? Is it wild, Roderick?
I think it's incredible.
Really?
It's crazy how huge it is.
I've
So-
seen the lines, but I've never been. They're marketing people. I see the billboards, and it's like 220 miles to your next Buc-ee's. Like, either fire that guy or give him a promotion. He's either doing
Right.
something really wrong or really right.
So I have a slightly different perspective on Buc-ee's.
All right, let's hear it. That's
Being
okay.
in and out of truck stops for 25 years and
yeah.
looking at it through working for a trucking company goggles, it's just a truck stop
Yeah.
for people that have never stopped at a truck stop.
It's very touristy. That's
Yeah, it's a truck stop with a bunch of marked up 30% garbage
Yeah. Yeah.
that you can take home with you.
Yeah.
And everything is branded Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
Everything.
Buc-ee's
Yeah.
brand. Do
So-
they have you had the brisket?
No.
Yes.
Brisket.
Yes.
Brisket's where it's at.
They make it right
I
there.
did not realize you were such a fan.
Yeah.
I'm
Roderick
excited
said
because I went there one time when me and David were coming back from Atlanta.
There you go. He was
Oh,
waiting
yeah.
for me to talk about Buc-ee's.
Yeah, I got really excited.
So Buc-ee's, yeah, not impressed. I don't get it. It just
That's all right.
and you say brisket, I'm thinking about a hot dog rolling around on the little rollers
Yeah,
at a
roller.
truck stop.
Yeah.
Neither one of those is very appealing to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll stop at a restaurant for my food.
That's understandable. You should, and you
But-
should.
But only go to truck stops. Point I
So
was
you
getting
go to
to,
truck stops. I'm sorry.
man, the way people drive around these trucks.
Oh yeah.
And in
Oh,
truck
where
stops.
pedestrians?
Yes,
Yeah,
the
they
four-wheelers
fly, man.
are like I want to get out and punch these
Yeah.
people for the
They
truck
are
drivers.
not
Like
courteous
guys
at
trying
all.
to back in and people walking in behind, cutting around them.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
like you can't see all of this stuff happening all around you
No.
when you're backing and
No, especially not like a van, backing in a van. It is
Yeah.
harder to see. I mean, you're blind for a lot of it. No.
yeah.
I agree with you. I pulled in behind a guy. Where were we going? It was just this past weekend. Oh, I was coming back from Nashville. I pulled in behind. It was actually a hearse. I pulled in behind a hearse that was off duty, but he did one of these. We both had time to pull into this gas station, and it was left hand left-hand turn, so we turned into the gas station, and there was an oncoming car, but he was way far away. So he pulls in and at a decent speed to this gas station, and we're free and clear, and then stops right at that entrance of the gas station. And I am following him, and I pull in. Now I am in the intersection, and the oncoming car's going. And I'm thinking, man, are you aware at all that I guess that's on me.
Yeah,
I followed him.
I was just about to say there's drivers listening right now that are like, dude, don't go into an intersection.
No,
that's not clear.
It's on me. It's on me. But there was absolute no reason for this guy to stop right there at the entrance of the deal. And I'm thinking,
you're anticipating smooth sailing.
Be able to pull in, but we get in those little. Agreed. That's my issue. But that's one of the. It's unsafe out there. People are not thinking the same thing you're thinking. They're not worried about the same things you're worried about.
If there was something we could do in our show to raise where, you know what we ought to do?
What?
We ought to start out each show with a safety message.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I'd like to start the show with a safety message.
Is it too late for that?
Buckle up.
We could always just
that
rewind. Just go back. Great idea.
We talked. I think we spent for this one. I think we spent. Well, okay, we were talking about backing up, and we're talking about the percentage of accidents that and the cost to our owner-operators of accidents. So it's just be hyper aware even when you think the trip is over.
Yeah.
Or it hasn't begun yet. That's where whenever other people are involved, the more the other people involved are around, there's just so much room for error on their part and ours, I guess. But
yeah, I tell Amber, my wife, I tell her all the time, I'm never so much worried about our drivers doing the right thing out there. I'm just worried about what everybody around them is capable of. And I see it all the time. And I mean, we've all seen that guy in the semi-truck flexing with his big truck out there on the highway. But more times than not, what I see are people that just don't understand how to behave around big trucks that are causing the problems on the highway. And just a little more education to the public about how to act around a big truck and how to drive. That guy's not running you off the road. You've been driving for a quarter mile in his blind spot.
I took going down.
He's looked 15 times and you've never shown up.
Right.
Stop that.
No, I know.
Get off the right side of that truck, people. Stop it.
Another story, going down to Nashville, there's a lot of construction work on 65. So we get off at Preston Highway, and we're going to shoot down and get back on 65 a little bit further south because we're heading south to Nashville. Well, I'm apparently not the only genius that thought to do this. So we get off of Preston Highway, and it's bumper to bumper, to turn to go south. And we're sitting in there, and we're patiently waiting. And a truck, flatbed, hauling a load of sheets, steel sheets. Oh, well, I say they were sheets but it was tarped, so I don't know what commodity, but sheets. And comes flying by us. It's one of our major competitors. I'm not going to say names. But comes flying by us with his in the turning lane, right? We're in the left-hand lane, and we're going to turn left. And he comes flying by us in the turning lane to turn right. It's only a two-lane deal, but he's got his left blinker on, okay? And I'm thinking, oh, well, he came flying by. So I'm already aware. I'm going, what's going on here? And he's got his left-hand blinker on. I'm thinking, oh, he must have turned left and it hadn't turned off yet.
Yeah.
And he's going right, obviously. Well, this guy flies up to the front of the line and then proceeds to cut everyone off on Preston Highway and turns left and cuts off all these cars. I don't know if he had to use a restroom. I don't know what he's got going on, but I thought, holy crap. So I told my wife, Becca, I said, hey, look at this guy. I got to see if I can catch up to him. Of course, I'm in line, and I don't, but I was going to catch up to him to call his company to say, hey, man, this is, I feel bad
not
for
good
them.
for you guys.
Well, we caught up to him on 65. I'd forgotten about it since then. We spent 30 minutes in traffic. We caught up to him on 65. And the only reason I know we caught up to him is I see a flatbed in front of me on 65 South, and he's swerving. And I thought, is that same? And it looks like he's got a tarped load of sheets. I said, is that same guy? So we speed up, and I get up, and it is. Same person. So I videotape what as I'm passing. I just want to videotape, not to I guess not to get him in trouble, but this is unsafe for this company. And I'm hoping he's not having a medical emergency or something's going on, but he's swerving. Well, so same guy that cut everybody off and turned left is just riding on 65 South. He didn't stop anywhere for his swerving all over the place, and he's got his handheld. And he's talking to somebody, one hand on the wheel, handheld in hand. I didn't get it on camera, but then I called our competitor and tried to tell them. I said, unfortunately, I did not get the truck number, and he got off the exit soon after. But I'm telling him, hey, if there's any way here's something that you all need to be aware of. But you don't know what people are doing. But I feel bad for that company, our competitor, that they just didn't feel the need to care about what was going on around them at the moment. You know, it was bad.
It's rough.
Yeah, it was dangerous.
Scary.
Yeah, it's scary. Shoot, yeah, I had my kids in the car too.
Yeah. I drive a lot, back and forth to work.
Yeah, you drive
And
live slightly below Michigan, right?
Yeah, just south of Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
I commute daily
I know.
to Louisville. It's
But it's cooler up there.
but probably a couple of times a month I'm just driving along and it hits me and I'm like, oh my God, man, I'm counting on all of these people around me to not kill me today.
Yeah.
And people are driving past me with their
And they're counting on you
heads
not
down.
to kill them too.
Yeah. So sit your phone down, people. Sit your phones down.
Yeah.
It is so common to just, you see somebody swerving, doing this or that, and you go up and they're just,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
or even worse is the two palms on the steering wheel
Yeah.
as they're two thumb texting.
I saw some lady reading a book. Not on the phone, actual paperback book in the car.
Reading
Driving.
a book driving.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
I
Yeah.
can barely read a
great.
book sitting on a couch.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm the same.
Like I
Reading a
barely have the attention to do that.
Reading a
She's
book.
going to do that drive. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, don't do any of that stuff. Be safe.
Yeah. Really.
What's our time, Roderick?
So
What
right
are we
now,
about 15 minutes in?
Yeah, man. The time's been flying. We're at 50 minutes right now,
We've
50 minutes.
overshot.
and I'm not gonna lie. I recorded us for like 5 minutes just shooting the breeze at the very beginning. So really,
Oh,
we're
yeah?
probably about 45 minutes.
He's sneaky.
There
Yeah.
we go. Can I talk more about this orientation class?
Yes.
Do you mind?
I do not mind. You were kind of the guy that was big on time last go around. Now it's you that wants to talk.
Yeah. Well, we're at 45 minutes. We got 10 minutes. Is that doable?
I can do this for as long as you want
All right.
today.
I was supposed to.
So,
We'll keep going.
you good?
That-
You good,
I-
Rod?
We're good.
All right.
I've got written down that market perspective,
Oh, I've got that on mine too.
Yeah.
that we want to talk about market perspective. And I'm not going to talk about how
We tender freight.
customers tender freight. That is for a later episode. I think we
Okay.
should talk
Yes.
about that at some
It,
point.
it
I know
really
you-
is important.
I know you've heard it 9,000 times.
So the novelty of it is I'd really never heard
How we tender
the
freight.
term
Oh, tender.
tendering freight
Yeah.
until I heard you speaking publicly about it,
Yeah.
which you do an amazing job of.
Oh, thank you.
And I was like, where did this guy go that, like, we were making fun of Robbie Kugel in his office 15 minutes ago, and now he's an industry professional. Like,
So-
what happens to that guy when you get up on stage?
Some context for everyone listening. have done a couple talks, and one being at Matt's with our drivers forum. I think it's important to share information in order to arm ourselves and make better, more accurate decisions for our businesses. Like, I think there's a lot of fast-moving parts in our industry, so the more we can share knowledge and information, the better we are equipped to combat the fast-paced nature of our industry. So my deal and my talks that have been about how a person that works as an account manager or broker or agent or whatever you want to call them, the people that are on the computer entering loads, how they do their job, and how a customer gives freight. Like, what does that process look like? How do they give freight to an account manager or an agent? And there's little tidbits within that helps the owner-operator be a little bit more knowledgeable or a little bit more equipped to make good decisions for their business. Right, and know what to do. So, but anyway, Brian's heard this now 3 times, 4 times.
It's good
so
every
he's
time.
making fun of me. But so, market perspective on what we're talking about. This orientation class, the reason I thought about it, the orientation class, that gentleman that asked me, how do you know? How do you know what the market's doing? I went into a little bit about how technology is affecting our market and how things are going. The market's down, and we could talk about outbound tender rejection rates. Real quick tidbit, Freight Waves records the outbound tender rejection rate. So tender is a real word. But all that means is that they have billions of load dollars information, and all they say is how many loads are being sent to carriers that the carriers are sending back that they're rejecting.
Yeah.
And that equates to supply and demand. So how much how loose is capacity and how much are they rejecting? So right now, outbound tender rejection rates are at an all-time low. That means that carriers are accepting about everything that's sent to them for freight, and they're not turning back anything. That means they're desperate for freight. Okay, so that's just basic stuff. So, but this guy says, how do you know the market's bad? And I kind of went into this spiel, and I want to talk about it, technology, to him, and about how technology is used in our market, and really any market. I thought about this. Technology is used to improve process or decision making. That's it. Google Maps. If I type in Google Maps as a technology, if I type in a route or a destination on Google Maps, it gives me a route. That all that does is improve my decision making on should I go that route or in my process of doing that. Same thing's happening in trucking industry. There's technologies that are improving the number of clicks that I have to make, or how I enter a load of freight. You talked about entering a load of freight earlier, and it's making us faster. It's making people that drive desks faster. Or there is technology that's improving our decision making. These data mining companies, people that are getting all that information. Yeah. And all that does is make these market swings a lot less mountainous and valleys. They're not peaks and valleys anymore. Everybody's kind of on the same page. So you won't find someone that has $2,000 load and $1,000 load, and they both have that freight. The shipper knows kind of where the market is, and the rates are down. So right now, just talk about market perspective. It's tough. It's tough for everybody. But just like I was telling this gentleman in orientation class, it's not like anyone's not fishing out of the same pond. We're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
We're all fishing out of the same pond. We're all having the hard conversations. So I circle that back to the value that we provide. While shippers are totally focused on price and unaware of value, we need to make it a point to provide value and show them what value is, so that the price doesn't matter as much anymore, right?
Yeah. We take
Did I lull you to sleep?
No. I was actually, so everything's perspective.
Yeah.
for me. And so while you're talking about that, I'm thinking about when we're marketing to owner-operators and when the recruiters are at these truck shows or on the phone, and I don't want to say selling Mercer to owner-operators because they're not salespeople. They're really recruiters. They don't sell Mercer. They tell people about Mercer and help you decide whether or not we're a good fit.
Right.
And if you are a good fit, we want you. If you're not, then we hope you find success somewhere else. But it's the same thing when guys call in and they're like, well, tell me all of the advantages of Mercer. And you'll hear our recruiters say a lot, well, we're hauling the same freight as everybody else.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you you're going to make more money here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you you're going to make less money here.
Right.
But the fact is we're all hauling the same stuff and we're all in this together. The difference is the value we provide to your business and the support we provide to your business.
Right.
And so if you're going to haul a load of sheets
there you go.
of whatever, the least we can do is if you're going to haul the same load for a similar price that you do it for anyone else, let's make sure you get paid fast. Let's make sure you don't have to deal with the back-end office headaches. Let's take care of that paperwork for you.
Make sure you get treated right.
Yeah.
Make sure you know how fuel taxes work and that we pay them for you.
Yeah.
And different things like that.
Yeah. So
I call that being Mercerized.
Yeah, but it's value. We
value.
add value to what you're doing, and we've always said being an owner operator at Mercer is like having your own authority with none of the headaches.
Yeah.
And of course, there's headaches.
Who said that? There was an old recruiter because Dale says that too. And
Glenn Correa.
Glenn Correa.
Yeah, he was the best recruiter I've ever worked with ever. He taught me the value of honesty, if you can believe in such a thing in recruiting. But
trucking.
Trucking engineer. But I'm sitting there, and I'm pretty new to recruiting, and I don't know much about Mercer yet. And he's telling this guy all these great things about Mercer. And he was also one of those guys that you could be like, oh, yeah, I live down in Lee, Florida. And he'd be like, oh, down there off of I-10, exit 222, there's this little truck stop diner that's still there.
Yeah.
And they have the best, chicken fried steak.
Seriously, that is incredible that people can do that.
But yeah, so he would do that. So he's telling them all these great things, and he's like, well, hang on a second. You haven't asked me about any of the bad things that are going to happen. We're still a trucking company. You're going to go out there. You're going to arrive on time, 15 minutes early for your crane appointment and find out he is not there.
Yeah.
They're not going to help you. We're going to call and ask for detention pay for you, and the customer's going to reject it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be terrible, and that's going to happen because we're in trucking, and that's what trucking's like. So don't think that we're any different than other trucking companies in that respect. Trucking's still trucking.
Yeah.
But here's the difference.
Goes along with it. It's not going to be a perfect ride.
People. Yeah. So, there's going to be a lot of headaches along the way. There's going to be bumps in the road. Trucking.
You're full of these puns today.
I am full of something.
It's fantastic.
For sure.
I don't know how you...
It's hard living inside of this brain.
I don't know how you come up with it.
Gosh. Mental illness has probably got a lot to do with it. But anyway, value is very important to us, and I think it's still important to a lot of people, and I'm glad that we still have customers, whether it be a shipping customer or an owner-operator customer. It's good to see that there are still people that see value as being an important thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely.
So go Mercer. Good stuff.
What do you want to talk about next week?
I want to.
Let's get some topics on the table.
I will be traveling next week.
Oh, okay. Week after.
So we're going to have to skip. So I'm going to come back with new
material.
industry news from the marketing side of things.
Okay. So we'll
hopefully
talk about marketing.
Maybe we'll get a little bit into what's happening with trying to sustain our fleet.
You know what I want to know? You know what I would like for you
times.
to tell people to how ornery the marketing game has gotten on a sense of ad placement and being fed things to click. For instance, top 10 flatbed carriers, and you'll find a website that has a top 10 flatbed carrier and
predatory awards.
Yeah, there you go. So that you just click on that website and then you just get fed information about whoever sponsored that website or that article to be fed to. Oh, they're the best flatbed according to who,
That's a cool topic.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. I want to know more about that.
Okay.
I want to know more about geofencing and of course I know a little bit about it, but geofencing and being able to target certain audiences through technology and
it's super
geofencing.
creepy. And so, like, I already know what the things that we're capable of doing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really interesting to me when you hear people talk about like how they were just having a conversation about this, and now there's an ad.
Oh yeah,
and
my phone listens.
There's a debate on whether or not phones are listening.
they're absolutely listening.
and deciding. So that'd be fun to talk a little bit about. I don't know how interested other people are in that, but I find it
I'm interested,
fascinating.
So I'll ask questions.
And yeah.
I'll tell you this.
I talk a lot about what we do as a company. I don't talk a lot about what we do as a department within the company ever.
I will say this. It's talking about how interested other people are. Maybe they don't know what we're even talking about at the beginning, but they are getting fed ads, and they are wondering why is Mercer not at the top of it? Well, Mercer didn't have anything to do with that website. It got fed to you. So that's from a sense of them being and us being the targets and being the prey. What's the old saying? If you said it to me the other day. If you're not
paying for the product, you are the product.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
Think about that when you log into that free app or game or whatever it is. That's not for you.
No.
That's for somebody that wants to purchase you
and your information.
And target you.
100%.
So, yeah, have fun with Bejeweled Blitz. They're collecting your information and serving you ads that somebody's giving them money for.
Yeah. Cool. Well, good deal.
Before we go, I just want to put a quick little tip out there for drivers, making sure that you stay hydrated. It's 105 here in Louisville, Kentucky, so I can only imagine that around the U.S. it's probably pretty hot too. So
good stuff.
Make sure you get yourself a bottle of water, that you're staying hydrated. I know it sounds
breaks
silly.
if you're out there securing a load. Take breaks.
You can always have yourself like an umbrella if you don't have a hat or anything like that. I know it sounds silly to carry an umbrella, but you need the best that you can to keep that sun off of you. Make sure you're keeping your cups full of water.
This is great. Hey, where can you find us?
Oh, yeah.
Faceless Roderick.
So we are on all the major social media channels. We're going to be Mercer Transportation over at LinkedIn. You can find us on Facebook at Mercer Transportation.
Right.
If you are wanting to get some inside information, or if you're willing to kind of hang out with some of our drivers online, you can always find us on Mercer Town Lounge. And also, please find us on YouTube. We are Mercer Transportation Company on YouTube. Please follow, like, and subscribe. And,
hit them buttons.
Punch them. Like, subscribe. Let's get connected more. Appreciate it. Thank you guys, both of you all so much.
Thanks for doing this, man.
And,
I hope that somebody finds value in what we're doing. And if nothing else, hopefully, there's a driver out there that's bored, that's just trying to get to the truck stop and settle in this evening, and we're helping keep him perky and lively.
I hope we didn't put him to sleep. Safe travels.
Yes.
Safe travels next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Safe travels to everybody out there on the road. Please, please, please stay safe.
And
most importantly,
for the love of Pete, if you see a truck out there with a Mercer sign on the door, be good to them. Take care of each other, you guys. We're all in this together.
Yep. And as I said last week, love you guys.
Go Mercer.
We're out.